monster game last night. He's a double-double machine, had 18 points and 15 rebounds in the win last night. Keaton Wallace led all scorers as he had 23 points. Can your Agua Caliente Clippers continue to do that and get another win going into the playoffs? Edwards, nice block, or nice breakup by Scott. I like that. As I said, they hang their hats on defense. Gets the ball, Thompson kissed it off the glass. I like that play. King to Thompson. Great play right there. These young men, you can see they're picking up from last night. They were here last night, so they feel good. Got a chance to really settle in. That's a good shot right there. Hits that immediately. What a response right there for the Stars, as that was a big shot put up by Bolden. And if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, you don't want to allow this team, you don't want to allow them to get streaky. Look, Darling gets the ball into Thompson. I like that play. Couldn't get that one to go down, but that's a nice play. You want to get the big man right at the cup as close as possible. A lot of contact out there, no call, but Thompson was able to snatch that ball. Gets down to Darling, up and under. Oh, my goodness, just missed it, and that's a tough miss for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Look at Edwards, steps right into the shot. And I saw him in shoot-arounds. He had the stroke going. And you can see as soon as he got that ball, he walked right into that shot. And that's a nice deep shot for the 5'11 guard out of Purdue. And let's see, your Agua Caliente Clippers down by 4 early in the contest. Wallace gets the ball over to King. King gets it back over to Darling. And Darling gets to the cup with the floater. I like that. Nice shot right there as Darling gets to. And out there for your Agua Caliente Clippers, you got Darling out there, you got Scott out there, you got Wallace, you got Thompson, and you got King. And that's a nice shot. Walk right into it. And you can see as soon as he let it go, Wilson Frame let that go and walk right into that three. That's something, if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, you don't want to, and they're going to call that a backcourt violation. You don't want to allow this team to get a rhythm and start to pull away. And there's a good look of your head coach. Coach Ewing, one of the few times you'll see him sitting. He's always up. He's always coaching. He is putting his input with everyone. Has great conversations with the referees. Great leadership for your Agua Caliente Clippers team. Edwards kisses it off the glass. Nice play. Got right to his spot. Knew exactly where he wanted to be. And as I said, I watched that young man in shoot around. And I'll tell you right now, he had the stroke going. He had it. He was lighting it up in shoot around. So he's the guy you want to stay connected to. Darling gets to the cup. A lot of contact. No call on the play. And now there is a call on the play afterwards. I like the aggressiveness. That's one of the things last night. Your Agua Caliente Clippers in the win last night against the Spurs, they led wire to wire. They came out lights out on fire. So your Agua Caliente Clippers, you don't want to get to a situation where you're falling behind because you don't want to exert that much energy. But they got the players out there. They've got the players that can get the shots up. And Wallace is a guy you like to see. He led all scorers last night. Like to see him get some. And that's what you don't want to have is an unforced error right there, the turnover. If you're the Clippers, just walk right into that three. The Clippers are fortunate when the big man, the double-double machine, Thompson, just snatches that rebound. Let's see if he'll get 10 rebounds again tonight. As soon as he gets off the bus, they should put 5 rebounds on the chart for him because he's a rebound machine. Darling, oh my goodness, don't hurt nobody. Up and under, a popcorn machine, 2 points. My goodness, oh my darling. What a play right there by that young man. Puts him in the popcorn machine. Hopefully he got extra butter. It's Edwards. He's been lights out. You can see right there, gets right to his spot. Look at that floater. Couldn't get that one to go down. Clippers are fortunate out there, but he was point blank right where he wanted to be, and Wallace walked right into a three downtown Ontario as Wallace hits a much-needed three for your Agua Caliente Clippers. You like to see that they cut this deficit down by 2. And Wallace is a guy, I said last night, he had a lights-out performance. That's something you don't want to give a shot up that easy. That's an air ball. I'm sure a window was open or something. But you don't want to see the Agua Caliente Clippers give up too many shots like that. But Wallace is a guy I'd like to see get more shots up. Gets up to the cup. Couldn't get that one to go down. Good rebound right there by the Stars as they look to push it. You can see if you're the Clippers, you want to get back and cut off the ball. Gets right to the cup. A lot of contact. And the referees rightfully so called that, and that's Miles Jr. And that foul's going to be called against Scott. That's his first personal foul of the night. So if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, the one thing you've got to notice is this Stars team, they're aggressive. They are attacking the rim, cutting to the rim. So that's one of the things you want to make sure you do. First rule of basketball, cut cut the ball off, but it's a lot easier to say while I'm sitting over here broadcasting the game, right? But I'll tell you, I'm so excited. 5 years in existence, your Agua Caliente Clippers out here in the Inland Empire. And to clinch a playoff berth, and that free throw was good. One free throw worth 2 points. And that's just a testament to the coaching staff, Coach Paul Hewitt, what a job they've done with this young Agua Caliente Clippers team. Ball finds his way to Darling. Who's going to get into great ball rotation. Scott with a big three ball. That's what you need. Oh, my Scott. That is a great play right there. As Wilson Frame gets it over, rotates the ball, and now finds his way back out to Rice. And I tell you, he was wide open. He could have baked some cookies. He was so open. You got to cut that off. You don't want to give him a shot that wide open. He just took forever. He made some reservations while he was sitting there at the three-point line. Your Agua Caliente Clippers only down by 4, and now Wallace is going to call a kickball on the play. So it's still going to be Agua Caliente Clippers basketball. 7 minutes, 39 seconds ago here in the first quarter. Your Clippers down 12-16. And I like what I see. You see Scott, he's got the stroke going. You can see Wallace walked into a big three ball. Thompson, the double machine. Look at that. Oh, a pass. It just went right to Edwards. And that's what you don't want to have is an unforced error. As Edwards, I tell you, they are aggressive. And look at the Clippers. They want to run. And look at it. Wallace wants to step back, finds his spot, gets it up. Couldn't get that one to go down. Great play right there. Scott gets the rebound, gets it out to King, downtown Ontario. That play was fit for a King, but that all started with Scott and having the heads up and making sure he got the ball back to a teammate. Great play right there. Won't show up in the stat sheet, but that was a great effort play. And that's what I'm talking about this team this year. Just love the effort of your Agua Caliente Clippers. And that's a great rebound. Just snatched it over the top, gets the ball in. And your Clippers, if they're able to dig that out, and that's going to be the first time in the Agua Caliente Clippers 5-year history that we have clinched the playoffs. So I'm a little excited about that. Your leading scorer for your Clippers is Darling, has 4 points. Thought about the three, gets the ball back over to Scott. Scott's had a nice start. Look at this stroke. Great Scott hits a big shot for your Agua Caliente Clippers to give them back the lead, and that puts him at 5 points, and that's a good start for your Agua Caliente Clippers. You talk about responding, and that's what you want to see. Even though they got down, they responded. Edwards gets that up, and Edwards, he said, talk about responding. Edwards says, I got reservations for 3 as well, as he hits a big 3 for his team. And you can see he's coming out. He's being very aggressive as Wallace gets right to his spot, gets the floater, and you can see these two teams. It's going to be a track meet tonight. These two teams, they want to get some points on the board, and that's a nice response. But Wallace, leading scorer last night, and Wallace is one of those guys, he can hit you with 30 with no problem. As Edwards gets right in the spot, I'll tell you, Edwards has got it going. I told you, I saw it in the shoot-around. He had the stroke going. So he's a young man you want to make sure you stay connected to, because he is lights out tonight as Wallace has got it. Is he going to respond? Great entry pass, gets down the ball down low to Scott. What's Scott going to do? Gets it to Thompson with the flush slammer-jammer. Nice play right there as Scott found Thompson. I like that. And I'll tell you, the Clippers have really found Thompson in a great position this season, getting him right at the cup, making it easy for the big man. I like that. Cut the ball off. I told you, Edwards is a guy. You got to get the ball out of his hands. He is so, and speaking of that, the ball finds his way back to him, and another 3. He's a guy, you've got to figure out how to keep the ball out of his hand, because he has got the stroke going tonight. He is hitting that 3 ball like there is no tomorrow. Ball finds its way to King. King rotates it, gets it back over to Scott. What's Scott going to do? Gets down low, gets it over to Darling. Darling's a guy that can respond and can shoot. Couldn't get that one to go down. Ball finds his way back to Darling. Gets another attempt at it. Couldn't get that one to go down. And Scott just missed the rebound. And I'll tell you right now, this Stars team gets right in position. Look at Rice. Gets it up. Couldn't get that one to go down. Finds his way back to him. You can see Edwards saying, hey, I'm open. But look at that shot. Walk right into it. And the Clippers are fortunate that Edwards didn't get that, because Edwards, he's just been lights out. Gets to the Scott. You're clear for takeout. Slamma-jamma flush. I like the response by your Agua Caliente Clippers. If you're going to compete with this Stars team, you're going to have to score some points, because they can put the points up. And as I said, Edwards is a guy you want to get the ball out of his hand, because he has got a handle. He's got a shot. He's a guy that can be lights out for you if you're this Stars team. Great response as King comes and swats that out of here. Extra postage. Said, no, sir. Wallace, Euro step. Get to the cup. So if you wanted to know if his offense offense traveled from Salt Lake City? It indeed did. And he's a young man that has the ball in his hand. He is playing lights out tonight. About just under 4 minutes to go. Like I said, he's a young man and right on the mark. Didn't get that one to go down. It's probably too close for him because he is lights out from the three-point line. He's one of the guys, if you're the Clippers, you have to chase him off that three-point line. You don't want him lighting it up. Ford just checked in for your Agua Caliente Clippers as well as Walker. And just gets to the cup was Wallace. Just couldn't get that one to go down as Wilson Frame. He just hit a couple of big threes for this Stars team as well. So you want to make sure he's a guy that you stay connected to also. And they ball, look at the rotation by this Stars team as it gets out. And the Clippers are fortunate that didn't go down as Wilson Frame had a good-looking shot at it, but just couldn't get that one to go down. Ford, like I said, just checked in a moment ago. He is a guy that is super-duper fast. When he gets that first step, it's lights out, gets it in the wall, step right into that three. Just couldn't get that one to go down. Williams checked in for your Clippers as well. Great ball rotation. Look at Scott. He's just been everywhere, so active. Great Scott as he's making sure that he is trying to keep his team in this contest. Tie ball game, 25-25. Darling's checking back in for the Agua Caliente Clippers. He's going to be checking in for Wallace. 2 minutes and 59 seconds to go. You got 20 seconds on the shot clock. Great play right there, almost. Good. Look at the ball rotation. Ball finds its way back to Edwards, and the Clippers are fortunate that lift out. I tell you, Edwards, he's been lethal from the three-point line. Not so much beyond and closer in. So he's a guy who's probably going to get behind that arc again. As Darling comes right to a spot, thought he was going to put that up, gets the ball over to Ford, and what's Ford going to do? As I said, he's got an incredible first step. Gets it back to Darling. Darling had his spot, gets the floater. Just limps in, just dribbles in. Great shot right there by Darling. That is a great play. Your Agua Caliente Clippers have stormed back to take the lead early in this contest. And now Edwards, like I said, he is a young man. Oh, great play right there. But look at the body control. Look at him just hang in the air. That was a nice play right there. Edwards, he is a complete package. You can see he's a young man that looks like he's on pace to go north of 20 points tonight. As the ball gets in there, Walker gets it back to Darling. Darling thought about three, gets a little bit closer, and that was just a turnover for your Clippers as Wilson Frame. Look at the first step, get to the cup, gets the foul on the play. But I'll tell you right now, this game, if there's one way to describe this game, track meet is it. You can see these two teams are up and down the court in no time flat as Edwards checks in for Scott with just under 2 minutes to go. And Edwards is a young man who grew up a stone's throw away from this arena. Grew up in the Rancho Cucamonga area, and we play in Ontario in Southern California. It's a good free throw right there as Wilson Frame gets that to go down. One free throw worth 2 points. There's your Agua Caliente Clippers. As I said, I know I keep saying it, I'm just excited. First time we're going to the playoffs. And they're going to call on that. They're going to call it traveling on that play. So that will be Salt Lake City basketball. So Miles Jr. will check in for Salt Lake City. With 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Can the Clippers get a stop here? Down by 2 points. You don't want to allow this team to hit another three. Great play as Taron gets it down low. Great body control over the shoulder. Gets that to go down. Great play right there. And now your Clippers get the ball back into Ford. You got 20 seconds on the shot clock. Plenty of time. Edwards gets the ball over to Ford. Ford thought about the three. Brings it back, gets it over to Edwards. Edwards gets it over to Williams. What are the Clippers going to do? You got 9 seconds on the shot clock, so you got to go. Got to make sure. He gets the ball to Williams. He can shoot the three ball. Just couldn't get that one to go down, but he can shoot the three ball. As now you can see this Stars team, they want to push. Nice body control. The ball finds its way back out to Ferguson, and Ferguson hits a nice three. And now the Clippers, you don't want to allow this team to pull away. Clippers now down by 4 points. And that's what you don't want to see as Williams gets down low. What's Williams going to do? Got Darling on the cut. Move without the ball. And one. Traditional three-point play. Oh, my Darling. Nice play right there. Did you see that first step? Did you see that burst to the cup? That's great ball rotation. And you can see right there, hit him right in his where he wanted to be. If that was football, they'd say you hit him right on the numbers and he went right in for the score. It's a nice play right there for your Agua Caliente Clippers. And now he'll do the traditional three-point play. And that's going to be so important for your Clippers. They find themselves down by 5, down 4, as Darling's able to hit that free throw. And Edwards, he's a young man that you want to make sure that you stay connected to, and he gets it out of his hands, and that's a good play. And now you see Williams, as Williams goes Euro step, gets the foul call. Good play right there. And Williams will step up and get one free throw. 24.8 seconds to go. Here in the first quarter, as your Agua Caliente Clippers find themselves down by 2 points now. One free throw worth 2 points. And you can see now Edwards is actually sticking Edwards. So you want to you're going to get a little more size on him and someone that can stay connected to him. Let's see if Edwards can shut Edwards down. You got 10 seconds on the shot clock and game clock. Edwards steps right into a three, and just like that, he is on fire tonight. Steps right into a three on that play. You might want to go over instead of going under the screen. Get to the cup, slamma jamma flush. As Williams, nice play right there. Goes up and goes with bad intentions as he gets the big slamma jamma for your Agua. Excited that he was able to make the trip to Southern California because he is balling and he's lights out. Start of the second quarter, and it looks like the Stars have gone into a zone defense. Can the Agua Caliente Clippers break it? This is one of those things when you want to hit it deep. And look at Wallace get to the cup. Floater. That was just a grown man move right there, as he was not going to be denied 2 points. Did you see him tuck that and get to the cup? That's just a grown man move right there. That's strong body control and strength. And you can see Edwards is out of the game now. Who will the Stars find for their offense? Because he was absolutely lights out. And you can see the Clippers are locked in. And I like that play as Walker comes and slaps that out. Extra postage. Sends that back. Return mail. Gets the ball over to Wallace. Wallace gets the ball down low to Walker. I like his footwork. I like the way he plays the game. But that's just one of those situations where sometimes the big men, little guys come in there and knock the ball out. And look at them. Great pass, great ball rotation, and you can see the ball finds energy. And that's just, that just went in and out. And that was almost all the way down for Wilson Frame. Just couldn't get that to go down to 4. Gets to the cup, gets the floater, gets the 2 points. Nice play right there. I like right there as Ford puts his foot on the gas. And you know what gas prices right now, that's an expensive shot. It's Wilson Frame. Let's see what he's going to do. You got 10.5 to go here in the second quarter. And Walker, nice play right there. Get to the cup, the body control, kiss it off the glass. I like that. That's one of those good plays where for Miles Jr., as he was able to adjust the body control. Nice play right there. And now let's see what Ford's going to do. Ford gets it over to Scott. You got 10 seconds on the shot clock. Scott's going in. Kiss it off the glass and one. The traditional three-point play. That's just body control. You know what I like to say? That's a grown man move right there as he goes to the cup. And you can see right there, look at him slash, look at him dash. The body control, take the contact, kiss it off the glass. 2 points. That's a nice play right there for that young man. You can, and I say this all season long, if the outside shot is not going down, get to the cup, make the referees make a call, get the team in foul trouble, get them load up on the team fouls, and get to the free throw line. And just like that, your Agua Caliente Clippers are back up by 2 points. Scott's having a very, very good game, a good start to this contest for your Agua Caliente Clippers with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. And that's going to be, they're going to call a foul. That's going to be an offensive foul. I thought that was going to be called against Scott, but that's going to be called an offensive foul. It looks like a moving screen, and you can see right here as it comes around, and that's one of those plays they're going to call that foul against Terry, and they're going to say we will take it for the Agua Caliente Clippers with just under 10 minutes to go. So your Agua Caliente Clippers with just under 10 minutes to go, up by 2, score 41-39. Ford's going to inbound the ball, gets the ball into Wallace. And Wallace has been lights out tonight. He's the first player, dare I say, he's caliente for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Scott's real close. And let's see what Ford's going to do. Great entry pass. Throw it down. Slamma-jamma flush by Mr. Walker. You're cleared for takeoff, young man. I've seen some of his highlights. He can throw down. I would get out of the way if I saw him coming up the key. And that's a great shot right there by Wilson Frame as he gets that one to go down. As I said with Walker, if I saw him with the ball in the paint coming towards the rim, I would run. And gets the ball into Williams. Nice play, but couldn't get that one to go down. You got 9.5 to go. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 2. Can they get a stop? You have Edwards out of the game, who was lights out. But you can see the great fake. Great hesitation. Couldn't get that one to go down. Scott gets the rebound, pushes it over to Wallace. Wallace, as I said, has been caliente all night long. Gets in, gets it deep, gets it up. Couldn't get that one to go down. Clippers, it's one of those situations you want to see them get more offensive rebounds. One shot and a rebound to the Stars is not what you want to see. They have great passing, great rotation. You can see as they're looking to find the perfect shooter, and they always do, just step right into a 3-ball. Couldn't get that to go down, but look at the rebound. Gets the foul. Nice play right there by Bowden as he was able. He's just a big man. He's a 6'10", center, but you've got someone coming in right now, Thompson, and Thompson is a double-double machine. And you can see right there, just look at him, just go up. He's just saying, it's just too small for me. Goes up, snatches the rebound out of the air. Couldn't get the bucket to go down. But now, coming in for your Agua Caliente Clippers, Thompson, the 7-footer out there, the double-double machine. So he should be able to clear that up on the offensive and defensive glass for your Clippers. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Free throw is good, so now we have yet another tie ball game. As I said, if you're going to keep in the contest with this Stars team, you have to put some points on the board. And you got Ford on there. Like I said, he has one speed. It's super duper fast. Somebody's got to come and get the ball as the ball gets into Wallace. Wallace, you got 9 seconds on the shot clock, so you don't have to go fast, but you got to make sure you get a shot. And Wallace steps back right into a 3. Downtown Ontario. Wallace hits a big shot for your Agua Caliente Clippers. I told you he was caliente. But I wouldn't lie to you. Wallace is having a nice contest for your Agua Caliente Clippers. He was the leading scorer in last night's contest, so I can see right now, looks like he's going to have another big contest as Scott applies the defense. Now you got 10 seconds on the shot clock. Nice block right there as Scott gets it out of there, but just dribbled right into Wilson Frame's hand. Sometimes it's good to be in the right place at the right time. So Agua Caliente Clippers now up by 1. And Scott gets the ball, gets it over to Wallace. Wallace gets it back over to Ford. Got 14 seconds on the shot clock. Got plenty of time as Ford gets in deep, gets it back to Wallace right in space, right where we wanted to be. Couldn't get that to go down. I told you the double-double machine was right there to clean it up as Thompson gets the rebound. I tell you, he is so good on the offensive glass. It just always seems like he's at the right place at the right time. Love the way that he plays out of George Mason as your Agua Caliente Clippers still up by 1. But Thompson's one of those guys, he can step up and hit. I don't want to jinx him. I'll wait until he shoots it first. There you go. He's one of those players that can go up and he can hit that free throw. He's been very consistent from the free throw line. When you have a 7-footer that can hit free throws, do you know how valuable that is to a team? When you know you can go down to him late in the game, that is great for your Agua Caliente Clippers. And look at that shot, just right where he wanted to be, and that was Miles Jr., but just couldn't get that to go down. Got everything he wanted but the results as your Agua Caliente Clippers find themselves up by 3 and 4. What's Ford going to do? Thought about the step back. Thought about the shot. I told you, got one speed, super duper fast. Got the floater. Couldn't get that to go down. He felt that there was contact on the play. The referee said play on. As Rice gets to the cup. Nice play. Just couldn't get that one to go down. And now Wallace. I love the way the Clippers have their head up. Always looking to push the ball as Wallace is looking who to get it to. Euro step. 2 points. My goodness. Is he caliente tonight? He is having a game for your Agua Caliente Clippers. That's like a playoff bound move right there. Like the way he's playing. I'm sorry if I sound excited. I certainly am. Your Agua Caliente Clippers made the playoffs. That's a deep shot. That's a clean shot. That's a good shot. As Wilson Frame hits a big three. If you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, you can't relent. You can't let up. This Stars team, they came to play basketball. Gets the ball. You're clear for takeout. Throw it down, Mr. Thompson. Slam a jammer. Nice play right there and getting 2 points. So he has had some tremendous offensive games for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Just so good to see them playing their best basketball this time of year as Rice hits it, steps right into a clean shot, and that was a good-looking shot as Rice gets that to go down. Sometimes, as I always say, sometimes you just have to tip your cap because he got exactly where he wanted to be and got the results that he wanted. Now, if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, you got to make sure you clean that up as Darling gets it back over to Ford. Ford gets it over to King, gets it down low to Scott. What's Scott going to do with it? Scott's been playing lights out. 2 points. Good shot right there for Scott. Great Scott. He has a nice shot as he hits a good one right there. Mid-range game. That's another thing I love about just Agua Caliente Clippers team. Yeah, they can hit the three as Wilson Frame puts up a three. They can hit the three ball, but their mid-range game is just, it's so superb. As Ford gets the ball over to King, King gets it to Darling. Darling thought about the three, gets the ball back to Ford, and he has one speed, and it's fast. As Darling gets up a three downtown Ontario. Darling, oh my Darling, was that a nice shot for that young man. 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter, and that man Edwards is back in the game. So I'll tell you right now, you want to stay connected to that guy. Nice steal right there as Darling picked his pocket and looking to go coast to coast, gets the ball, and they're going to home cooking. That's, there's some good food out here in the Inland Empire, so maybe they've gotten a little too much, and when they're on the road, they really do well. The ball finds its way to King. You got 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, and that's just an unforced error. And you can see right there, just shot out of a cannon as Miles Jr. pushed that ball up, but the Agua Caliente Clippers were able to get back and cut the ball off. First rule of basketball is Edwards. Edwards on Edwards, and that's going to be called a jump ball on the play, and that's a great play right there. It's Edwards on Edwards, and that's one of the things, because Edwards for the Stars is 5'11", but Cameron Edwards for your Agua Caliente Clippers is 6'7". So what you want to do is just put some size on him, put the wingspan on him, and just make it a little more difficult for him, because he started the game lights out, but boy, did he get up. He's got some ups. He almost got that jump ball. As now King gets the ball. What's King going to do with it? Trying to get the ball down to Thompson, and he does. And now Thompson's down on the low block. What's Thompson going to do? Great footwork. Look at him get to the cup. Just couldn't get that shot to go down. Got everything he wanted on that play, but the result. And now you see bringing over half court Wilson Frame. 4 minutes to go. Barking out his signal, telling everywhere to go. And I'll tell you right now, great play right there. What a play. Look at that slammer-jammer flush as Bolden gets up, jumped out of the rafters with just under 4 minutes to go. That was a nice setup and even better delivery for the Stars. And now you can see it's Darling. And that's another unforced error for your Clippers. Is Rice behind the back, get to the cup. That's a nice play right there. And I'll tell you, this team has stormed back into this. It's only a 3-point game right now as Ford has it. What's Ford going to do? You don't want to have another unforced error if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers. Gets the ball to Thompson. And they're going to call a travel on the play. And I'll tell you right now, the Clippers, their offense is going in the wrong direction. As now Wallace will check back in for your Agua Caliente Clippers. With 3 minutes and 29 seconds to go, he'll come back in the next break. So now you can see coming, and this is one of the adjustments you can see. Wilson Frame is bring the ball up because you have Edwards on Edwards, and that's going to be an unforced error for the Stars. That's going to be Clippers basketball. And you'll take that. And Wallace will check in for Ford. And he's been lights out. And that's for the Agua Caliente Clippers, that's a great substitution to see him coming in. Ford has been playing lights out as well. But anytime you can see Wallace get into the game, he's one of those players that's just been caliente tonight. Can we get another player? Scott, like I said, he's on the cusp of being caliente as well. So we'll see if Darling gets it into Thompson, and Thompson gets it back to Wallace. And Darling looking right where he wants to be. Just couldn't get that one to go down. But I tell you, that shot was as straight as an arrow. Just did not go down as Wilson Frame brings it up. And you can see, I like the way he's coming out and directing. Looks like one of the old school point guards, telling everybody where he wants them to be and how he wants to run his offense. Gets the switch that he wants, and now gets the ball to Bowden, gets the ball to Edwards, and Edwards, you want to pay attention to that young man. Kissed it off the glass, couldn't get that one to go down as Thompson, the double-double machine, cleans up the rebound and gets your Agua Caliente Clippers yet another possession as Wallace brings it up. Like I said, he's been caliente, he's been lights out. What's he going to do? Steps into a shot, and I told you, and there's going to be a call to foul on the play. I don't think they're going to count that, but I told you, Wallace tonight, he is caliente with 2.5 to go here in the second quarter. Thompson's going to check out for your Clippers, so is Edwards. Walker's going to check in. Williams going to check in for your Agua Caliente Clippers with 2 minutes, 32 seconds to go. King inbounds the ball to Wallace, gets the ball to Darling, and that's one of those plays, just an unforced error. I'll tell you right now, this Stars team, they have active hands, and that's a good shot right there as Wilson Frame steps right into a three, and just like that, this Stars team has stormed back and erased that 7-point Agua Caliente Clippers lead as Wallace gets right to a spot, gets his shot, couldn't get that one to go down, and that's going to be Stars basketball. It's getting chippy out here, and you can see these two teams, they want to win this contest for sure, and steps right into a three. He had a three just a moment ago, and that was Wilson Frame. Couldn't get that one to go down, but it looks like he's getting hot too as King steps into a nice three. Couldn't get that one to go down, and Walker couldn't control that rebound, so that's going to be Stars basketball. 1.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. If you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, you want to finish this quarter out strong. I'll tell you, this Stars team, this does not look like an 8-20 team. This team is very sound. They're great on offense as Edwards steps right into a three. Couldn't get that one to go down, and the Clippers are fortunate, and now the ball gets its way to Walker, and now it goes back to the Stars. And look at them push the ball. Boy, did they move that ball quick. Gets the ball down to Edwards, and Edwards got the contact, couldn't get the points, and now King gets it. You got 1 minute to go here in the second quarter for the Agua Caliente Clippers. And King, he's a young man I'd like to see get some shots up as well as Williams gets it. He can hit the three ball. Darling, look at that first step. Look at that. Get to the cup. Just couldn't get that one to go down, but boy, was he right at the cup. And you can see, look at the start. Look at Edwards. Thought about the three. Gets in a little closer. Spin move and one. That's a nice play right there for that young man. I told you, he's been playing lights out all night long. Boy, did he bring his A game. And you can see right there, look at the spin move. Hang in the air. Get the contact. Get the 2 points. That is a nice play right there for that young man. So the basket is good. The basket counts. And your Agua Caliente Clippers now find themselves down by 2 points. And Edwards hits the free throw. So your Agua Caliente Clippers with just about 30 seconds to go. You want to end this quarter strong. Look at Wallace get to the cup, and that's a nice defensive play for the Stars team. And you can see Coach Hewitt, he's upset. He said that's a lot of contact. That's like I say one thing, Coach Hewitt is always coaching. I love the way that he has such a command of the game of basketball, such a high basketball IQ, getting down low. You can't let that young man get that close. Wilson Frame, you cannot allow him to get that close to the cup, because more times than not, and look at that, great play right there. Even better block as King swats that out of here. That was fit for a King as Williams gets the ball to Walker. Behind the back, slamma-jamma flush. I like that. My goodness, do I wish I could dunk like that. Nice play, and you don't want to allow even not, and letting them know what he needs with the referee crew. So I love the way that he continues to coach the entire ball game. As your Agua Caliente Clippers only down by 3, they try to get back this lead. The ball finds its way to King right where he needed. Couldn't get that to go down. And then just like that, the rebound goes right to Bolden. Great rebound right there. I tell you, what a matchup with Bolden and Thompson. Those are two big men that they can control the glass for both of their teams. It's Edwards, and that's, like I said, that's one young man you want to focus on. But right in rhythm, right in step. The Clippers are fortunate that didn't go down, but able to pick up his own rebound was Rice. And now they have 9 seconds on the shot clock, gets it right back to Edwards and couldn't get that one to go down. Hopefully this side of the court isn't as friendly to him because he had it going lights out on the other side of the court. And as you know, they switched the direction as Darling gets down low, gets the ball back over to Wallace, and Wallace is able to clean that up and keep that possession for your Clippers. You got 9 seconds on the shot clock. Darling gets right in the spot, goes to the cup, gets it over to King, loads up, downtown Ontario. Just like that, your Agua Caliente Clippers have tied up this contest 62-62. As Wilson Frank, he's had a big game for his team. Gets it up, couldn't get that one to go down. And maybe this side of the court just won't be as friendly for the Stars. We will see. With 10.5 to go here in the third quarter. Darling gets in the cup, gets it to Scott, slamma-jamma flush. Great Scotts. Was that a good play? As the Clippers, they've come out, and that is a quick 5-0 run for your Agua Caliente Clippers to take this lead back. And now Edwards gets the ball down low, gets it over to Miles Jr. Let's see what he's going to do. Gets to the cup, hangs in the air, gets 2 points. Nice play right there for that young man as he gets that one to go down. And I said, this is going to be one of those games that is a track meet. These two teams go back and forth, and they continue to apply the pressure. So you've got to score as Darling steps up, gets the 3, couldn't get that one to go down, but that was a good look for that young, but he just couldn't get that one to go down as Wilson Frank gets it. And let's see what he's going to do. A lot of contact out there, but the referee said play on as Bowden steps up and hits a big 3. That's a good shot for that young man. As I said, if you're going to hang with the Stars team, you have to make sure you get points on the board. And like I said, this does not look like an 8-20 team as Darling gets the ball over to King, and King rotates the ball, gets it over to Scott. Scott thought about the 3, puts it on the ground, gets it over to Wallace. Wallace gets it to Darling, and that's a good play. Goes back to the Clippers, gets it. You got 2 seconds on the shot clock, got to get it up, and Wallace knew it, but just couldn't get that one to go down with just about 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter of action. As Rice gets it. What's Rice going to go? Good first step, but even better play by Darling to get his hands in there. Active hands. Look at Wallace. He's going fast. Gets it over to King. King, he had enough time to make cookies. He got it downtown Ontario. I mean, he had plenty of time to sit there and load up and get that shot. Great play right there. Your Agua Caliente Clippers, 43.8% from the three-point line. That'll get it done for your Clippers. Look at that first step. Edwards, get to the cup, hang in the air, get the foul. What a play right there. What a response. I mean, this young man is so crafty as he goes to the cup. I tell you, he just takes so much contact. And you can see right there, look at that body control. That's a strong play right there for that young man as he has a nice play for his roster. 1 free throw worth 1 point. With 8.5 to go here in the third quarter. Tries to get the traditional 3-point play. And just like that, he gets it. I tell you, this young man's game is impressive. He's having a lights-out performance tonight for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Pushes that lead back up to 3 with 8.5 to go here in the third quarter. So, as I said, your Agua Caliente Clippers, you got to continue to score points. Darden gets in deep, gets it over to Wallace. Wallace loads it up. Good-looking shot. Just couldn't get it to go down. Look at that. You talk about a touchdown pass. Even better play by Wallace, and that's going to be Clippers basketball. Great play. Way to get back into the play and not give up for your Agua Caliente Clippers. I'm impressed with that. And you can see right there, he could have conceded the point. He could have gave it up, but he did not as Wallace got back into the play and got the possession back for his team. Great play by that young man. And now Thompson gets the ball to Darling. Darling loads up. That's a good-looking shot. Couldn't get it to go down. The double-double machine gets the rebound, kicks it off the glass. 2 points for Thompson. Nice play. He just seems to be everywhere he needs to be on the glass as he gets the rebound, gets the points. Nice play by that young man. Great play too as Scott keeps your hand, keep active hands, just disrupt their offense a little bit as King gets the steal and pushes it, goes coast to coast, 2 points. Nice play right there. Points on the board. And I tell you right there's your head coaching staff for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Coach Hewitt, you know they're formulating some ideas on how they're going to make this work. Can they get a stop? And Rice gets right where he wants it. Just couldn't get that one to go down. It's a good-looking shot, just not the result that young man wanted. And now Wallace gets it. I told you, Wallace is caliente. And they're going to be a offensive foul. And you can see Thompson is saying, they're grabbing my leg. That's one of those things right there. It's just a crafty move. If you're a defensive player, you got to do what you got to do to, get the call. And if the referee calls it your way, then it's a good play. With just about 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter, your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 1 as they lead 71-70. That's a nice shot right there, right where he wants it to be. That was a nice shot by Wilson Frame, and you can see he was right in rhythm, right in his step. Good play, and that's an even better play by Wallace as he felt Edwards on his hip. Slowed up a little bit, got the contact. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but what you're doing is you're getting a foul on Edwards, and that's what you want to do. The way this guy's been lights out, you want to slow him down, and you can see he's frustrated, telling the referee, hey, that's not the way that I saw it. But that's just a veteran play. As King clears him out, gets the ball back over to Wallace. You got 12 seconds on the shot clock. You got just under 7 minutes. As Darling right in his space. That was clean as can be. Downtown Ontario. That was clean as a brand new pair of Jordans. Like that shot right there. That was a great looking shot for that young man. It puts his team up by 4 points as Bowden gets it. Tried to find Edwards. Ball finally does find his way to Edwards. And he's a young man you just want to focus on. Look at that. So crafty, so skilled. Didn't get that one to go down, but my goodness, is that young man skilled. Wallace gets it. Wallace Euro step, gets to the cup. Could not get, and look at Thompson, Mr. Double-Double. Couldn't get that to go down. Gets the foul called. And I'll tell you, Thompson, he is just a double-double machine. Doesn't it just seem like every time he's around the cup, he's getting rebounds? Just look how big. That's a 7-footer. Look at that wingspan. He is just, he just takes every rebound that's near him. Just love the way he plays on the glass. As I said early on, when the Clippers were having trouble with rebounds, you insert him in the game, and before you know it, the Clippers are getting every single rebound in his vicinity. And he steps up and makes the free throw. That's what's so that's the most impressive part of his game to me, is the way he just steps up, hits the free throws like it's nothing. So that is impressive to have a 7-footer so skilled at the free throw line. And the great ball rotation. The ball finds its way to that guy that's been in trouble all night long. Couldn't get that one to go down. I tell you, this side of the court hasn't been as friendly to them as Darling thought about the three. Gets it back to Scott. Scott loads up. Couldn't get that one to go down. Mr. Rebound. Oh, even better block by Bowden. Came out of nowhere. As King has it, you got 9 seconds on the shot clock, so you got to make sure you get a good shot. Now Scott gives it. He knows it. Gets to the cup. Kicks it off the glass. Couldn't get that one to go down. They're going to foul on the ground, and that's going to be against Thompson. 5.5 to go here in the third quarter. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 4. Just seems like one of those games, almost like whoever has the ball last is going to win the contest, right? It just seems like one of those games, neither one of these teams are really able to get their dominance and just pull away. And there's Peavy, your head coach for the Salt Lake City Stars, and you can see he's coaching them up as well, doing a great job with his young team. 5 minutes, 37 seconds to go. Agua Caliente Clippers, as I said, up by 4 points. And it just seems like one of those things every single time the Clippers seem to get a little bit of cushion, get a little bit of space. It always seems like it's either Wilson Frame or it's Edwards that just responds. Great play to get to the cup. Couldn't get that one to go down as the Clippers get the rebound. Look at them, heads up, always looking to push it. Scott, what's he going to do? Gets the ball over to Darling, and Darling gets it down low to Walker, who just checked in for your Clippers. Nice play right there. Just turned around. So skilled. He is a great addition for your Agua Caliente Clippers. He's going to be great for us in our playoff push. Now your Agua Caliente Clippers just under 5 minutes to go. Can they get a stop early on as Bowden and Walker? Nice footwork. My goodness, that was textbook. That was a nice play. Go one way, come back the other way. That was a sweet play. 2 points. I like that. all the young people at home, if you're watching, if you want to know what footwork looks like for a big man, put that play on rewind. Darling gets to the cup, and look at that. Bolden came out of nowhere and swatted that. My goodness, is he active on the offensive end and the defensive end, and he can hit the three ball. Couldn't get that one to go down. And the Clippers, you got to pull that rebound in. As Walker finally corrals the ball, you want to make sure you secure the basketball. Gets the ball over to Scott. You got 4 minutes, 17 seconds to go. Gets the ball back over to Ford. What's Ford going to do with it? Look at that first step. My goodness, he has one speed, super duper fast. Mike, don't hurt nobody, Ford. I like that play. Fast as a Mustang. That is just a phenomenal play right there. One speed for that young man, super duper fast. Just under 4 minutes to go. Your Agua Caliente Clippers, can they seize control of this game? Can they get a little bit more of a cushion? And Bolden, he's a young man. Look at that step back. He can hit you inside, outside. Couldn't get that one to go down, but he has a complete game as Darling has it. What's Darling going to do? Darling thought about the three. Gets the ball back over to Williams. Williams gets the ball back to Ford. He had just a nice play. Look at that crossover. My goodness. Gets the ball over to Walker. And Walker, you got 10 seconds on the shot clock. I like his footwork. Look at the body control. Got the foul on that play. But Walker's one of those young men as well. Just so skilled down on the low block. What an addition here for your Agua Caliente Clippers with 3.5 to go. And Walker will step up for one free throw worth 2 points. Scott's going to check out for your Agua Caliente Clippers. So on the court right now, you got Williams, you got Walker, you got King, you got Ford, and you have Darling for your Agua Caliente Clippers for 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Free throw is no good, and that hurts. And that's going to be Agua Caliente Clippers basketball. You talk about an unforced error. That's one of those things. And Thompson's going to check in for your Agua Caliente Clippers, and he's going to check in for Walker. With 3 minutes and 27 seconds to go, 14 seconds on the shot clock as King gets the ball into Darling. What a first step. Get to the cup. A lot of contact, no foul. Gets the ball back to 4-4, gets it to Williams. Williams couldn't get that one to go down. As your Agua Caliente Clippers had multiple opportunities and missed free throws and missed attempt after the Stars had fumbled the ball out of bounds. So that was 2 opportunities for your Clippers, just unable to cash in on those opportunities. And that's going to be a pass, but the problem is you pass it to the other team as Ford steps up with the three downtown Ontario. That was as pretty as a brand new Mustang. Like that shot by Mr. Ford as your Agua Caliente Clippers are starting to get a little bit of a cushion as they lead 83-74. That is a 9-point lead. Are the Clippers going to wrestle control of this game? As long as you got Wilson Frame out there and you got Edwards on the squad. See, that's what I'm telling you. As soon as they get to the cup, he is so skilled. But look how fast the Clippers got right back in the scoring position. Downtown Ontario, they're feeling it. Look at Darling. Oh my, Darling was at a quick offensive possession. I told you, this game, if there was one thing to describe it, it is track meet. You can see as soon as, and look at that. Wilson Frame puts it up, couldn't get that one to go down. But look at the Clippers. They are looking to push it forward. He's going all cylinders. He's got his foot on the gas. Look at the first step. Get to the cup right there, folks. That is balance for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Leading scorer for the night is Carson Edwards. For the Stars, he has 25 points, and followed by Wilson Frame. And I tell you, those have been the 2 guys that have absolutely put the pressure on your Agua Caliente Clippers all night long. You got just under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter as Rice gets it. A lot of contact with the step back. Nice shot right there as Rice gets that one to go down. That's a nice play right there. It's just a strong move for that young man. As your Agua Caliente Clippers now up by 10. And look at King. Nice play. Gets it over to Walker. A lot of contact. No call on the play. And that's one of those things. You can see Walker's a little frustrated about that. Wilson Frame, I said he's a young man that's had a strong game for this Stars team. And you can see right there, look at the great hands by your Agua Caliente Clippers. Like how pesky they are on that. And now as Walker gets the rebound, nice rebound for that young man, gets the ball over the Ford. You got just about a minute to go here in the third quarter. Wallace, he's been caliente. What's Wallace got in him left? And look at Ford, look at that hesitation, step back, gets the ball back over to Wallace, and Wallace, great ball handling skill. I like the ball control and one. He had reservations for two. He said, no, I want reservations for three. Nice play. I like that. It was one of those situations where he knew they were going down low in the shot clock. Look at just the body control, absorbs the contact, and he said, I got the deuce. I like that play right there for that young man, as now he puts your Agua Caliente Clippers momentarily up by 12. And you can see he has 16 points in the night. What a strong, strong game that young man is having for your Agua Caliente Clippers. As Wallace steps up for the one free throw for the traditional three-point play, and he goes up, steps up, and gets that no problem. I tell you, the Clippers have been lights out from the free throw line tonight, and that will get it done as Bolden gets the ball, and you have Walker on him. They're going to call the foul right there on King. And you can see right there as Williams will check in for Edwards. You got 15 seconds on the shot clock, 43.3 seconds in the quarter. The ball finds its way into Bolden, and then you get the ball to Wilson Frame. He's a young man. You want to stay as close as possible as you can to that young man. His right steps up, gets the foul on the play, and I'll tell you right now, Rice, he's starting to light up as well. He's starting to cook out there. You can see he's starting to get his offensive stride as he's really starting to put it together with 35.3 seconds to go. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 13. This is one of those teams you just don't want to give them any indication that they can pull it away on that, and that's a foul. You can see on that the contact. That's one of those things where you just want to keep your hands up and not necessarily run into them. But you know, the players are so skilled at drawing the contact, and that's why they're professional athletes, right? That's what they get paid to do. As Ford has it. You can see how fast. Did you see how fast this young man could get up the court? My goodness, I wish I could move that fast as Walker gets down low. Footwork, footwork, footwork. Nice play right there by Walker. I like that. He is just so skilled. I like to call that a grown man move. Nice play right there as he puts your Agua Caliente Clippers back up by 12. You got 15 seconds on the shot clock. Shot clock's dead. On the game clock, now 9 seconds. As the Stars will play for the last shot, of course, as Wilson Friend gets a great ball rotation, gets to the cup, great entry pass, even better play by playoff bound Agua Caliente Clippers. I know I sound excited. For the first time in 5 years of the team's existence, they will be making playoffs. I am so excited for that. And now you get the ball into Edwards. Edwards right in rhythm. Couldn't get that one to go down. He hasn't been as lights out in the second half of basketball, and that could be just one of those things, and we talked about that. Coach Hewitt had to make the adjustments and figure it out, and it looks like, I wouldn't say that you've shut him down, but you've slowed him down a lot, because he came out in the first half of action just absolutely lights out for this Stars organization. 11 and a half to go here in the fourth quarter. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 12. They lead 93-81. King gets the rebound, gets it back to Scott. Scott gets it back over to Wallace. Wallace, ball control. And I'll tell you, Bolden, what a shot protector that young man is. He just came out of nowhere as he comes in here, and you can see it looks like Wallace had the easy one, and Bolden said, no, sir. He got that one out of here. As your Agua Caliente Clippers still find themselves up by 12 as Scott has it. You got 6 seconds on the shot clock, so you got to go, young man. And Scott knows it, gets it down low, just couldn't get that one to go down. And you can see right there, that's one of those possessions with the Agua Caliente Clippers. You want to see if you can get probably a better opportunity, but there's your head coach. Never stops coaching. Leading scorer for your Agua Caliente Clippers, Darling has 18, followed by Wallace has 17. 14 points by Scott, 12 points by Thompson, and King has 11. Ford has 9, and Williams has 4, and Walker has 8. And that's a good shot right there. Just couldn't get that one to go down. Nice rebound by Scott with just under 11 minutes to go. Can the Agua Caliente Clippers, they've got a decent lead right now, but can they pull away in this contest and just put this game away? King's like, I want to do it, but couldn't get that 3 ball to go down with 10 and a half to go here in the fourth quarter. Edwards was lights out first half, just hasn't had the stroke in the second half of action. Got another shot at it, couldn't get that one to go down, and that's tough. That's 2 missed threes for that young man. He's cooled off a little bit as Scott puts up the three, said, I want to try it. Couldn't get that one to go down. And your Agua Caliente Clippers, this is one of those situations, it seems like neither one of them can seem to get a bucket right now, as Wilson Frame comes over the half-court mark, and let's see what he's going to do. Gets the ball over to Bolden, and that's a good shot right there, and gets that one to go down. Just loaded up was Howard. And you can see right there, as soon as he got it, he was just right in rhythm, let it go. That was a good-looking shot for that young man as Walker has it, gets it over to King. King thought about the three, and what's King going to do? Brings it back, gets it over to Darling. Darling gets it, he finds it way down low. Great cutter for Walker. I love his footwork. Just couldn't get that one to go down. But way to stick with it and get to the cup. And they're going to call an offensive foul on that play. They're going to. That's an interesting call. They call that offensive foul. I'd really like to see. I don't understand what he did on that play. He puts his head. Oh, they said that they got him on that play right there. I can see. They said they caught. Looks like they said they caught Rice in the chops on that play, and that's a tough one. So you got 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Your Agua Caliente Clippers lead a score of 93-84. It's a 9-point lead. You want to make sure you continue to apply the pressure. And look at Edwards, gets to the cup. I told you that young man has hurt the Agua Caliente Clippers all night long. He's just skilled. I mean, he can get to the cup. He can score. Now he's hitting you inside. He was hitting you outside. Now he's hitting you inside. As King up and under. Couldn't get that one to go down as Walker couldn't hold on to that rebound. And this is one of those situations with the Clippers. It just always seems like there's always a lull in their offense where they have it going, and then there's a couple of minutes where they can't seem to buy a basket. As Thompson would check in, he'll come in for Walker with 9 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Your Agua Caliente Clippers, this is what I say, with this Stars team, it just seems like you got to be up by 40 points to put this team away, because there is no quit. I mean, there's absolutely no quit in this team as they continue to apply the pressure on the Agua Caliente Clippers on the offensive end. And Howard will inbound the ball, gets the ball into Edwards. And Edwards, that's a good. You want to double team that guy. You want to get the ball out of his hands if you can. And stepping out of the bounds was Howard. And that's one of those things. These young men are so big. They're so tall. And those baselines are so small. The minute they get it, they step out of bounds. So that's one of those things where you just, I mean, your natural momentum is to step back and give yourself some footing and give yourself a push to get to the cup. But it's one of those situations you just got to step forward. As King inbounds the ball, gets it into Wallace. You got just under 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Your Agua Caliente Clippers are up by 7, and you want to see them. You want to get a possession. You want to get a score here on this possession. As Darling gets it, what's Darling going to do? Puts up the 3 ball, and just, it looked clean, just didn't go down. I tell you, that thing was halfway down and lipped its way out. And that just, it just seemed like it's just become, the Clippers, they can't buy a basket right now. And that's going to be a foul called against your Agua Caliente Clippers. It's going to be called against Thompson. That's his 3rd personal foul. So that's one thing you want to pay attention to. It's so important for you down on the glass. You don't want to see that young man with 8.5 to go here in the fourth quarter. You don't want to see that young man start to rack up fouls. Just too important to your defense, to your rebounding. You got 5 seconds on the shot clock. Gets that, and that was a good shot right there. Wilson Frame, he looked up and he saw it. He knew that he needed to get that shot to go down. So that's a skilled veteran play. And just like that, this team is right back in this contest. It's a 4-point lead now. Your Clippers seem like they had a comfortable lead just a moment ago as Darling goes up to the cup, gets the 2 points. Like that play. That is a nice, strong move Darling's one of those guys, you're so used to seeing him step up and hit big threes for you. If he can put it on the ground and get to the cup as well, that was a nice play for that young man. Nice response for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Good to see them push this lead back out to 6 and continue to try to put some pressure. And Edwards, he's a young man. He's got, and I talked about this all season long. If your outside shot is not going down, put the ball on the ground and get to the cup. And you can see that first step as he tries to get to the cup. And you can see right here, look at that. Put the ball on the ground, get to the cup. And that's one of those things, Wallace, it looked like Wallace went with his hand straight up. And it's nothing malicious. I like to see that sportsmanship with them on the ground. They know they're all trying to make a play, as Edward has 27 points. But that's like I said, it seemed like on this side of the court, he hasn't had the stroke that he did on the other side in the first half. So that's a smart veteran moves. If it's not going down for you on the outside, put the ball on the ground and get to the cup. Make the referees make a call and make a decision. He steps up, gets the free throw, and that's going to be something now. It's a practice shot. Now he can see the free throw, see the ball going through the net, give himself some confidence. As Wallace with the Euro step, don't hurt nobody. That's a nice play for that young man as he Euro steps his way to 2 points. I like that. You got just over 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. It just seems like with this, like I said, with this Stars team, you got to be up by 40 to feel comfortable. Look at Edwards, puts up the 3, couldn't get that one to go down. It just seemed like he's just not hitting the 3 that he was hitting to begin the contest with just under 7 minutes to go. Now King has the ball. What's King going to do? Get down low. I like that move, like that play. Just couldn't get that one to go down. Nice rebound. Oh my goodness, great Agua Caliente Clippers. And now Scott will take the free throw to try to complete the traditional 3-point play. Couldn't get that one to go down, and that hurts when you're Agua. Every point is so important when you're playing the Stars team, because it just seems like, doesn't it seem like all night, every single time the Clippers get a little bit of a cushion, it seems like they respond. And that's one of those plays. Clinton King just didn't see it, and sometimes it's just you're in the right place as Miles Jr. gets that to go down. Sometimes it's just about being at the right place at the right time, but it seemed like King would have been able to get that one. As Scott gets it over to Wallace. Wallace gets it over to Ford. I love Ford's first step. Step back. Don't hurt him. Couldn't get that one to go down, but that was a nice shot. Unfortunately, was not able to get the bucket. As Wilson Frame, he's been a problem all night long. Good first step. Great ball rotation. Even better still by Scott as he's able to pull that for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Ford gets it back over to Scott. And now Scott gets it over to King. A lot of contact. No call. 11 points by King. 18 points by Scott. 8 points by Walker. That is balanced offense for your Agua Caliente Clippers. When you can get that kind of production from multiple players, that will get it done. But Edwards, he's been a problem all night long. Couldn't get that one to go down as Scott was able to pull that one in. And now your Agua Caliente Clippers with 5.5 to go. Right now, you just want to close this game out strong. And I'm sure that's something head coach Hewitt wants to make sure they're able to do. Rotate the ball, get Wallace right where he wants to be, downtown Ontario. You get him in space like that, he's going to hit the shot every single time. He walked right into that 3 ball to put your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 9 with 5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. And Edwards, that's a guy you want to get the ball out of his hands, but he gets it to another player that you want to get it out of his hands, and that's Wilson Frame. I tell you, those 2 young men, they can play basketball. If you had any question, those 2 young men, they can compete. And Wallace just hit a big 3 for your Agua Caliente Clippers. What's he going to do with it? And now he gets the first step, gets to the cup, lots of contact, gets the call on the play with 4.5 to go here in the fourth quarter. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 6. But like I said, it seems like for this team, if you want to be comfortable, it almost seems like you have to be up by 40 points because there is no quit in this Salt Lake City's team. This does not look like an 8-20 team to me. This team, they have an offensive firepower, and they are a great squad. As Ford gets the ball down into Wallace, and let's see what Wallace is going to do. He and Edwards, great matchup. Then on that play, Wallace felt that there was a lot of contact. Referee said play on. And now you got Wilson Frame. He's a young man, just hit a big shot, gets over to Bolden. Bolden finds the ball to Miles Jr. The great ball rotation, finds the person they wanted to shoot, and that was Wilson Frame. Couldn't get that one to go down. Wallace gets down, I can relax. Your Agua Caliente Clippers have 2 games coming up against the South Bay Lakers. So it's going to be a phenomenal finish for those 2 teams, and now it's just all about seeding. And there's Edwards. The ball finds its way to Edwards. Couldn't get that one to go down, and just gets the rebound. Was Scott for your Agua Caliente Clippers. You have under 4 minutes to go. Clippers up by 9 points. And now, if you're the Stars, not only are you playing against the Clippers, you're playing against the clock. As Ford gets the ball. And that's what you don't want to do, is have an unforced turnover as the ball finds its way to Edwards with the nice alley-oop. Nice lob right there as it gets to Miles Jr. That's a nice play. Edwards to Miles Jr. That's great teamwork. And that's, like I said, with this team, there is no quit. Absolutely no quit in this Stars team. Very impressive for this organization. Ball finds its way to Darling, and they're going to call a travel on that play, and that's tough. And Darling, you know, he's such a three-point shooter. That's one of those situations you like to see him catch and shoot and let it go and just release that ball. Your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 7. You got 3 minutes and 18 seconds to go. And I tell you, I'm just on the edge of my seat because it just seems like every single time this Stars team has a response and they're able to respond quickly. And now you have Edwards getting ready. And look at that nice play. He's a young man that's hurt you all night long. Nice block by Thompson, the 7-footer. Gets that out of here. Sends that back extra pro stitch. First class mail to Salt Lake City. 2 minutes, 53 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Darling puts it on the ground. Let's see what he's going to do. Gets the ball back out to Ford. And Ford wants to pull it back out. You got 9 seconds to go. And King wants to get it over to Darling. And Darling, you got 5 seconds. You got to let it go. And that he does. Couldn't get that one to go down. That's just one of those things. Seems like their offense is a little out of sync on that play. Look at Edwards. Slows down. Gets to the cup. Kiss it off the glass. And that young man right there, he is impressive. As King gets the ball in, as I mentioned, you got 2.5 to go here in the fourth quarter as Ford hits it. Look at that first step. Get to the cup. Nice shot, but they're going to call a foul on the play. That's a nice play. And that's why I said, if it's not going down for you on the outside, then what you need to do, put the ball on the floor and get to the cup. Make the referees make a decision. And that's a great play right there by Ford. 2 minutes and 17 seconds ago with your Agua Caliente Clippers up by 5. Can we get this up to 7? Free throw is good as it dribbles in. That's a good sight to see for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Free throws are so important as you want to close the game out strong with just over 2 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Edwards has the ball. He's a young man. You want to, and I can see you paying a lot of attention to that young man because you want to get the ball out of his hand. But just like that, you have another young man that is just lethal, and that's Wilson Frame. I tell you, what a night he's having. And those two young men, they're trying to see who can score the most points in the entire contest tonight at Scott, and they're going to call a foul on Thompson. And that's what you don't. This is not the way that you want to close the game out with just under 2 minutes to go. It's only a 2-possession game. It's just a 4-point game, folks. So this is one of those things, if you're the Agua Caliente Clippers, this is not the way you want to close the game out. You want to make sure that you execute and continue to try to get this win here tonight. And Wilson Frame has 30 points. Edwards has 31. So those two young men, that's 61 points from just those two young men. What a game they've had. And now, get the ball. Great entry pass. That gets the foul. And if you're the Stars, that's a great thing as Miles Jr. gets fouled on the play. If you're the Stars, you're excited because not only are you have an opportunity for a free throw, but the clock is stopped. So 1 minute, 35 seconds to go. So now he'll get 2 free throws because of the time of the game. And you can see Miles has 10 points. He's trying to get 12. He wants to cut this lead down to 2. And the first free throw is good. But this is just one of those games that I told you. And now it's just a matter of seeding. Because the Clippers, you want to stay ahead of the Lakers. And you want to get that second seed. But if you, this is one of those situations where you're like with this Stars team, you have to be up by 40 points to feel comfortable as Edwards gets a shot off, and just like that, you have a tie ball game. And I'll tell you, this young man, actually that was a three-pointer, so that's the lead. So the Stars have stormed back and taken the lead with under a minute to go, and this is just not the way that you want to end this contest. That young man has 34 points as Wallace gets down low, gets the ball back over to King, and that's an unforced error for your Agua Caliente Clippers. Just not the way that you want to close out this contest. And I said it earlier. It seemed like every time your Clippers got a little bit of separation, it seemed like this Stars team had a response. And you have to put a team away. You have to put them away. You just cannot allow this team to keep hanging around. And you see Edwards, he's the floor general saying what he wants, and I'm sure he wants a three. Great first step. Gets the contact, doesn't get the call, and now the Clippers, you got 20 seconds on the shot clock. Clippers down by one. You want to get a good shot, get a good possession as King puts it up. Downtown knocks a two-pointer and not a three, and put this thing into overtime. But you don't want to give them a three to win this contest. Shot clock, game clock, just about the same. And now you got 7 seconds on the game clock, and Edwards gets down low. Great entry pass, and that's no bucket. And your Agua Caliente Clippers should be able to get this contest to be like pretty much a tip-in, but. And he tried to miss the free throw, and he makes the free throw. So with that, you can see the Stars call the timeout to advance the ball. So now you got 0.2 seconds to go with your Clippers up by 3 points. So now it's just a matter, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to foul it, especially a three-point shooter. If they go up and with 0.2 seconds to go, if they make a three, then that's great. But you do not want to foul here and send anyone to the free throw line. But with 0.2 seconds to go, they don't have enough time to load up and take a jump shot. And then we'll see if the players know that. So that should be the ball. And you see the referee